okay. I didn't expect to go with it this way. Loving myself is being modest. It's like I have a top on that's kind of see-through, and I'm like, I don't need everyone seeing my bra. That's having respect and love for myself. Either way, that's not why I came on to do this video. I was ready to go to bed, kind of like a nightshirt. And I'm like, Technahan! And then I hear somebody, whether it's in the cosmos, wherever it may be, that goes, Ty? In a masculine voice, though. And then I'm like, okay. It's like, so sound healing is important. But so is this subject I'm about to talk about. I had the Bible out earlier. Lo and behold, did I not know, and I kid you not. I opened the Bible earlier, and I guess something fell out of it that I put in earlier. And then this page, True Love. Listen very closely to this as I share, and I know he doesn't mind. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, family, and society. Knowing that sexual desire is not love. Now, hold on. Don't judge it yet. Please and thank you. You'll see why. And that sexual activity motivated by craving always harms myself as well as others. Again, hold on. No judgment yet. Patience, right? I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without true love. Okay, quote, I'm putting true love. And a deep, long-term commitment made known to my family and friends. So deep, true, committed love. You know that? It was like this remembrance came. And they reminded me when my husband, ex-husband, pardon me, at the time we were engaged. And he's like, hide the ring. Don't let them know yet. We'll tell them together when everybody's here. Because I had met his family for the first time. And it was only within 6 months. And we just knew. We'd go for walks. We'd dream build together. We had aspiration, goals, dreams. And don't get me wrong. The first time we had sexual intercourse, it wasn't true love. And even reflecting back, I don't even think it was true love when we were engaged. We were in love with the idea of being two, becoming one in oneness. And that was my desire, because that was what our invitations were. But what brought to true love was the gift of a child. And the responsibility. I remember when I gave birth, I was like, whoa. The time span, my child was born at he was 7 pounds, 11 ounces, at 11:07. And I remember wishing, he was already a week late. He was supposed to actually be born on his grandfather's birthday. And so he came a week later. And it's just uncanny how he ended up being on a Friday the 13th, which is great-grandmother's birthday. His Oma was also Friday the 13th. and so gifted. I mean, the woman was almost completely blind when she got to hold her great-grandson. And thankfully, she got to see when she had her great-granddaughter. And then she also got to hold her other great-grandson before she passed. I'm not sure about that. Let me try to remember. I'm trying to remember that. I'm not 100% accurate on that. I just remember Oma having the breast cancer and just all the stuff that she went through. She was an amazing woman, by the way. A real heart of gold. She created this poem, and to this day, I believe it's used in AA, but she never got recognized for it. So people do end up acquiring other people's stuff and using it as their own, and it's not theirs to use. But it catches up with them in one way or another. But we can't be bitter and angry about it. We can just have love for that person, their creativity. I know there's these audio tapes, and I kept on, after she passed, I wanted to listen to them, but life was so busy that I never got a chance to listen to them. So I hope somebody on that side of my son's family gets a chance to listen to them, to literally sit down and listen to some of them. Maybe they can be, they're on like a cassette tape, so I don't know if they can be transmitted onto something where I know somebody where they can fast forward. They'll listen to videos or listen to things, and they're able to just fast forward and hear things in such a different way, which is mind-blowing. Some people can do that. And so, but then again, I know I used to be able to be with my ex, and it's something, he'd be talking about something, or other things could be going on, and then I can be talking to spirit, and I can multitask, and I just was able to function that way. And so there's quite a few gifted people that are able to do that. And so this goes on to say, I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Isn't that beautiful? Like, he was a peace warrior. Seeing that body and mind are one. So when he was talking about body and mind being one, I was listening to, between recordings, I was listening to an audio of a monastery monk, and he talked about releasing in so many ways what no longer serves you, whatever's bothering you, whether it's tying you down, to write it out, and to burn it, to release it. You know, people do different things, and I think witchcraft, full moon ceremonies, and different things I've experienced in different ways from different people. And I remember myself not realizing that I was doing something where I would write, and I had this, it was like a cauldron, but it wasn't quite, and that's what I would do, and I'd burn it. But now I feel like there's this thing in me, because I'm like, it's not my mind. I feel like my consciousness is here. I'm heart blood. So some people, there's a book out about the 3 brains. There's some people that talk about, you know, like the Buddhist monks, they don't have to worry about possession of items and easily give things away because they carry it in their heart. The remembrance of every item, everything gifted that they may pass along to someone else. Or they may keep little trinkets, and then they learn attachment, and they keep reminding themselves not to be attached, so then they pass it along. Or the nice thing about monks is that they'll have a monastery, and there'll be all the things that belong to the monastery, but the monks move around. So they release themselves from attachment in a way of love by leaving the place. It might be a joyful event to leave it, It may be a joyful event to arrive to a new place, for new experiences, new people that they get to teach or to be around. That's love, which is cool. I am committed to learn, because what I mean by love is their service to people. I am committed to learning appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and cultivating loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness, which are the 4 basic elements of true love, for my greater happiness and the greater happiness of others. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully into the future. Okay, so imagine there's these parallel lives, and you have there's self-retrieval, there's things, and it's like you may feel icky, or you may feel like, okay, like me, I'm the preceptors, and I'm just like in a time in my life where sexual desires, or whatever the case may be, at this time, I'm just like, no thank you. I've also went through trauma though, and so for the love of myself, it just is as it may. And I realized there was times where I did have those desires, and then I'm like reflecting back going, whoa, that wasn't me or myself. And not that I committed adultery ever on my ex-husband, ever. That's over 28 years together, almost 29. I was committed in ways of love. And you know, sometimes, not that I belittle myself, but sometimes I will turn to myself, and I have said that maybe I loved to a fault. Maybe I was committed to a fault, but not really. I just have different understanding of love. It's like one of the monastery monks, and I might have mentioned this in another video, how he says, no matter what the situation is, if you're looking, let's say this person's raging, this person's being abusive, disrespectful, still, if you can, see the light that they are. See the beauty in them. Be proud. It's like my son. I have to be proud of the accomplishments that he has achieved in ways that others haven't, because he's his own unique self, just like for myself. And so I wanted to say, this also dropped out of the Bible after I read this. I'm like, knock, and that's when I heard, Ty, I'm going to read this. And I said to myself, I won't read it until I get on the video. And I was like, that's me being vulnerable, being my loving self. The Buddha board said, it's like, okay, what kind of message, Ty, do you have for her? And the Buddhist monk, I know this sounds all crazy for those who bear judgment, but it's not to me, it's a miracle, it's beautiful. That's like what message you have for her. Be yourself. And one of the most empowering things of being yourself is when you add up love and kindness, it comes to, I believe, the number 4. Or it's either love, love, kindness comes to the number 3. Love, kindness, which is a life path for me. Love and kindness comes to number 4. So that's for me, Angel, Dainty Davies. And it says here, this is really interesting because after a trauma experience that I didn't realize myself was going on, I kept on forgiveness, being myself, forgiving so easily. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're one to forgive easily, It means that you're able to forgive yourself, which allows you to forgive others. It doesn't mean you're being taken for granted. You're a being on this planet where your love kindness could be your purpose. And so I know it looks like sadness in my eyes. My blessed mother, oh mom, it looked like she was sad all the time. I realized that could have been anything transcending through her. I mean, I've seen transformists. I can't remember the terminology, but I've seen people where spirit transcends through them, and they don't even look like their own self. I've seen myself where I had the lioness nose in some of the videos. It's like looking in the mirror and the lioness coming forward. So I have a bunch of old videos that I still have to share. In divine timing, I'm getting, like, it'll come up just like my pictures do in different times. It just comes up and it's like, okay, I'm to share this with love and kindness. And so it's summer 2025. Oh my. When I reflect back to summer of 2025, for many of you, who knows what kind of summer it was for you? I got to travel because the situation allowed me to. The door closed. And I even remember this person at one time saying to me, even though I offered to be there, put a hospital bed in my place and everything, this person said, I can't get in the way of you traveling. At the same time, I needed to, because of abuse and everything going on. That's exactly what I ended up doing. So I got to travel the west coast of Canada all the way to BC. And found out many things along the travel. And many people and experiences, and allowing myself to be. And it's funny how you can be such truth and love, and how things can get misconstrued, and then you let something out, or you get kind of triggered into it. It's like the guides can kind of get things intertwined as well. And then you get somebody like Ascending Master Jesus going, okay, I gotta, untangle this red tape. And you got Buddha going, yeah, I'm in there with you. Master, way to go, here you go. And then the angelical beings as a collective, never mind the divine beings, and everything that is, that's, like the veil lifted, it's invisible. Some people see, some don't. Some see in a mind's eye, a wise mind, some don't. Some even smell, some taste. Oh my God, I remember being in the car, and before this person, I assumed it was my mom. And mind you, I asked my mom to take care of this person because they had cancer. I remember sitting in the car and my mouth filling up with blood, like that sensation, feeling it. And then not even later, I don't know how many, if it was a week later or what it was, and that person explained the blood out of their mouth. And I thought it was my mom, but it was not only my mom. My mom, I guess, was gifting me the message of someone else that was struggling. But I wasn't coinciding the synchronicity of what was. And so either way, it was a summer of healing, which I feel like I'm still on the mend. And I think we all are, as human beings, from each and every experience that we put ourselves out there. The grace of something greater than most believe in. And so we live a life, say God is there guiding us on a special way. Sometimes I feel like it's Angel Ariel and different angels. I feel like there's many. Don't get me wrong. Those that believe in God is love and love is God. And I've talked about this before. May you not strike poison daggers to my heart. Because if you're doing that to God. And then it's kind of repelling back on you. And please, let us leave the judgment in a way. And don't get me wrong, as human conditioning and human beings, we judge ourselves. even as I do this recording. I chuckle, and I just have to be. And so it says, loving myself more this summer than ever before. I'm going to sit with that for a second. And you know why? Because that's the lotus and murky waters. Oh, everything that surrounded me was so murky. People were lying, and I was like, whoa. And then I was seeing other things go on. I'm like, oh, that's repelling right off onto me. And now I am the dartboard. And then I'm praying as a universal thing that it's not going out there in a way of affecting so many. And then going, okay, because of association, I just have to be with what is. And saying, this is not love. And not wanting to bear judgment on it, but spirit coming out. And then I remember being in a healing session on a retreat, and oh Lord, I love a duck. I was like, it was nothing to do with the sound healer, but I experienced something that was so beyond. I ended up in the bathroom with a full-on panic attack. It was even worse than I could ever imagine. The excruciatingly bodily pains. It's like as if everybody in the room downwinded everything on me that didn't serve them anymore. I've had that happen before where it was such a light. Such a light. Because the mystic Buddhist in me and it was just like, wow, take your breath away. It'd be like in situations where it's like, okay, I didn't want to bear judgment, but there were times where I knew I was loved because it's just like, somebody's like yelling and screaming at us. I have to be the one to, it was just like, I'd be standing there going, Spirit, it's not me, that's not my thought forms, that's not my thought. There was a collective, there was people. And then you wouldn't dare ask a question, because if you did, the dart was coming right for you. So I love myself more this summer than ever before. I'm thankful for the beautiful being, a friend of 31 plus years, who I look the most beautiful around because she took such good care of me and her family were so loving and caring. And I had some time to myself while I stayed with her, and it was just a really good, healthy visit, which is beautiful. Like, I'm so thankful for that. She's a great host. Not to say others weren't. It's just everyone's going through their stuff. And it's like, I know I was around others, and it's really hard on me. Even when I think of love, having love for myself. And forgive me, Crystal, who had died by suicide last fall. I hope you're okay with this. I had love for myself, and it was at the monastery, and the relics came forward, and they wanted me to intermingle with some other people. And the girl next to me, I'm like, no thank you. I'm just going to say her. She follows preceptors like me, no illicit drugs, no alcohol. Like, we're not the experimental type of trying different things to ascend. And I didn't mean to bear judgment. I found out things later. But I felt like this divine connection with myself and having love for myself and that door opening. But I'm like, and I can feel guilty about not taking that door of opportunity. Maybe she would have lived a longer life. But I just know I didn't torture or torment. And yet I had a knowing that she was being tortured and tormented. So was I not of love tonight? By being of service, was I to take that leap off the diving board and engage myself in that? Is that like, I don't know, somebody saying, I'm going to go in the bar and support this person? And then I know what that's like. wonder if you were there with me. I went to support another medium, magnificent medium. I kid you not. And I didn't expect what happened to happen. And it's not that I've let it go. I've even, in a way, connected divinely in a different way in hopes that if this person wants to create, maybe they'll create the magnificent being they are and doing past life regressions for people and help them heal in a reading sort of way and sharing things with them that they may not know and that they're carrying around. Oh, see how my eyes went and did that? Wow. How their body can carry pain and suffering as soulful remembrance, and how, you know, sometimes it can still cause us even cancer, not even realizing that there's different types of healing modalities, different types of things. Like, for example, when somebody dies and people carry that heavy burden of loss, and if they don't go through the stages of grief, there's excruciating pain and suffering. And loving themselves unconditionally and accepting what is helps with the ease of processing the pain. And when you learn that they're moving on in a permanent way and that they themselves, and love the fact that you can celebrate all the time that you had with them living a life experience, and that they're still around in a unique way. And even better when they cross over and then they get to see the life review and the different things, and you feel them and you know, there you go, she's doing her work. That's so awesome. And so they're helping manifest with us. And so, I'm it's so funny, I'm wearing this card. And this is still on the back of the card. I'm reminded of a rose, the color of a rose. That would be me, Tina Marie. You wouldn't believe in the universe. Like, we can all be roses. We can all be color, whatever color it may be. We can be red, we can be yellow, we can be pink. I mean, green Tara and the rainbow of all that is. That's love. And so being of service, back to, you know, even, you know, I would, thank you, Angel Cassia. I would even, when it came to Crystal, I would like, there were times where I seen her a certain way and I'm like, okay, I was a seer there. And I wasn't supposed to say anything. I mean, there was a query, oh, maybe, you know, go give her a hug. But I was to bear witness to something. It was almost like she was a peasant girl. She was like a Cinderella. But in a time where she was obviously not treated well. And there were many queens and kings that surrounded her. And she was of service. And so that was really interesting to see in the monastery and see her that way. That's like a past life regression of view that I got to see of her. She gifted that to me, really, because that was her gift. And so she was gifting it, I think, to many. Now, there were times, don't get me wrong, where I was at the monastery and there would be other people around me and they would be, and I wasn't robbing anyone of anyone's gift. I would, oh, Lord love a duck. Not that I'm putting the Lord's name in vain, because even the Bible, there was a verse where I read about that, and yeah, you don't want to do that. When I say Lord love a duck, it's kind of like, okay, Lord Buddha, Lord Jesus, Sonata, pardon me. It's like, oh my. So the point being is, with Crystal, you would see this magnificent beauty in her. She was so gifted, and everyone that seen her would see the beautiful light she was. But she didn't share the anguish, the torment, except for certain individuals. And then those individuals came to the knowing of certain things, and then that's where I knew I had to be of service and say, you don't want to bear judgment and, different things. You want to see the magnificent being that was before you, like seeing all the wonderful things about her. Don't be fooled in trickery of certain things, because us in our mindset, sometimes we can go, especially if you have, like when somebody dies by suicide, or there's times where I know when I was in the military, my whole, let's just say, there was something of a rampage that went through my quarters, and there was such judgment, queries, and everything else that went on at that time. And from everything they see nothing but beauty, love. And see, I almost died, but there was by suicide. And they see nothing but glorious things. And they were like, and I became, they used a defibrillator on me many times. And I was young at the time. My ex-husband knew of this. I remember walking in the mess hall and boarding, and the whole cafeteria would be quiet. And this guy came that I knew, lifted me up and said, anyone that wants to F with her, you're F'ing with me. I was like, oh. Because what happened was, when I almost died by suicide, the defibrillator was used so many times. I believe it was 4 times. Please remind me. They're saying 3. I'm not sure 100%. I just remember waking up, a tube down my throat, a doctor screaming, yelling at me, I forgive him. Saying, this hospital, because the base had to transfer me, this hospital waiting room was full of comrades. And for some reason, I have a remembrance of cheering, but I was unconscious. And I survived. But when I awoken, I was angry. Because when I was going, this feeling of, not only am I done living, there was just this beautiful feeling. Oh, I can't even, it was greater than any high of escape you could ever imagine. It was like everything, every burden. I mean, this was greater than burning what no longer serves you and sending it into the light. This was love. Oh, it's going to catch me here because this is remembrance, but I don't know if it's my remembrance, but knowing the bridge, knowing, like, there was just something greater. And I don't want to, everybody's experience is different. But I just remember there was a part where obviously I wasn't done living a life experience, having a child and different things that were meant to unfold. I remember being so angry with these tubes coming out, not wanting to talk to anyone. And then slowly, because I was also working with some of the MPs and in a different way while I was on course, or my medic course. And there was, I got to know the MPs because we shared the same quarters. And even though they moved some of us MPs to the other side of the base, either way, I just remember my heart being so broken because even though there was a breakup of my ex and I, who had been together for, I think it was 5 years, some reason I kept thinking 7, but it was 5. I knew he had fooled around because my sister saw him with the receptionist at the place he worked. And then I myself in the military, but I would never sleep with anyone that was in a relationship or was married. I just was against that. And so before I was married, I was promiscuous. It wasn't love. There was desires. There were things that I think about spirit and how the earthbound spirit, like I know even when I went back to base Borden to go visit it, I got videos where you can hear the residual energy of all of us who have been a part of that base that's now closed down. And the sexual misconduct and all that stuff that went on. But either way, and how the psychic attacks and people and how disregard and everything else. But I remember my heart being so broken when I found out this other medic had a girlfriend back home and I didn't know. And he played the guitar and he was just a charmer. And he was from Newfoundland. And so, and that's like near and dear to my heart because my grandparents and my mom on that side came from Newfoundland. And so, I'm thinking my dog used dentist sticks. Not that I'm sending a promo out there. Oh, she still has one there. She was just checking in with me. And so, either way, the point being is this experience where I kept silent. They took me to a psychiatric place. And I remember, and this was after being in the hospital for a long time, by the way. There was no charcoal in my stomach. Like, this was serious stuff. And like I said, my heart was so broken. But at the same time, when I was ready to go, I was ready to go. And so, the divine and beauty of love was there for me. And, I didn't know that it was going to be, like I'm looking at this card, new horizons, new doors, different things. And how it's like, whoa, the silence and how they were checking in with me and everything else. And it was finally one of the MPs that was able to get through to get me to talk. And he had said, like, we went through your room, there was no signs of anything. And I still buried that for years. I mean, years. And so, when you bury stuff like that, and then finally you let it out after you're married. And so I have to see the good in my ex and being supportive. And so I, despite the fact of physical and verbal abuse, either way, let it go. And it was only one time, and he knew that was it, or else. So I just, not that I even need to share that stuff, yicky. But every story, every experience needs to be heard with people. You're not alone. And so I got through it, even though there were those that tormented me on the base. And, you know, I survived. And I remember, like, just certain experiences and how my ex-husband and I reconnected in Calgary. And how that happened too. I had a boyfriend before that also screwed around on me. And I knew, pardon my expression, I knew as soon as I walked through the door and it was him and this girl, and I was just like, afterwards I was like, out. I took everything of his and I threw it in the hallway. I lived in an apartment at the time. And then it's like really strange how you have a clear knowing, right? And then it's like, right after that, I had another relationship. And it was starting to go somewhere until this guy decided to drive a friend home after we went out. And let's say he never came back. And he had his thing, his fling. I'm like, what is it with me that attracts men? Am I not loving enough? I know I am. I am love. Was I not a sexual demon in the manner of some of these other women were? I just know that I'm not to pick myself apart about all this stuff. And so, like I said, there was a time where I was promiscuous, but I was grateful not to be anymore. And so as we evolve, there are people that have real sexual addictions. And I'm like, okay, you know, there was a time where, you know, even my ex would come home with lipstick on his collar. And I know there were times where I faced certain things. I know it to be true. It's not an illusion. I was intuitive back then. I still am. My instincts are bang on, and I'm not to minimize myself and the love that I have. It came to a point, I think, that there was so much programming in a way of, are you sure? Do you remember that? Do you have a bad memory? You have a bad memory. You have a bad memory. I'm like, no, I don't. That's your perception, not mine. And sometimes what happens is people don't realize this. Sometimes you may not be you or yourself. You have these guides and everything else. And it's almost like you can be around someone and the synchronicity of things, and you get a message. And then you're with that person, and then the message comes through really clearly. Or there's different things that go on, and you're like, okay, how did I know that? Or it's like, when you make a prayer and how powerful it is in peace, in a way of intentions, purity of love. And sometimes you may make those prayers of intentions in a way of your intentions are pure and wanting something for another, and you have to be careful because it can manifest in a way. It manifolds, it's like an accordion. I'm not going to get into that yet. And so there are times where it's like, whoa. I don't know if it's true that people steal other people's abilities and gifts. I believe we live in a world where people experience a lot of different things, and then they can say, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to experience an accordion unfolding and seeing a person's whole bunch of lives and opening up to that in the universe, and then all of a sudden not seeing it again. And it's like, okay, was I not supposed to say a thing? Was I not, and you say it to a human being, and you're like, oh, I experienced this. And then all of a sudden it's gone, and you're like, okay, I don't know who's puppeteering what, but one cannot have an attachment to those things. It's not seeing the value of who you are. It comes right back to love. It's like for a long period of time, I wouldn't identify with a label. The foundational bases that I built from the military, from every other experience I had in a working field of a career, a job, everything from work in the mental health field to you name it. There was a time where I went through a transition, and it was an enlightenment stage where I didn't identify with any of it. And that were those, and I think it was a programming of a medicine woman one time said, don't boast about anything. And it imprinted me so greatly. thank you. It imprinted me so greatly that I did, don't get me wrong. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And just know, those out there that you feel like you talk too much, or you don't talk enough, or you're not outgoing enough, or you're too outgoing, just be you. It's your experience. There's tons and tons of soulful experiences as your wise mind, your third eye, expands. There's essence of you that unfolds and you're like, oh, okay, that's a life where I'm doing this. Oh, that's a life where I'm doing that. Oh, this is a life where I'm doing this. It's different for everyone. It's part of creation and who you are. Just like this one needing attention. And so that's the sign, I guess. And so just be you. In the name of love. Thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, Thai, and all those monks who, oh my, did you see how I did that? That would be spirit coming and going of love, of light, of kindness that ebb and flows through all of us. It's part of our team. Okay? Do the ah. If you want an angelical presence to come to you. I don't know why I'm getting angel cameo. Okay. Because of peace. Oh, Lord. That goes back to the last video. And the connection and divine synchronicity of what is. I'm opening my book, but I'm going to leave it for another day. Okay, just so you know, there are spiritual leaders out there that discourage you to do that. They discourage you to do light language. They discourage you to do sound healing. Please don't. May you receive. Keep going and persevere. That has nothing to do with you. That has to do with them and their journey. So anyone who teaches you anything, use discernment, because that's just how it is anyway. Just be you. Be the magnificent being you are, and realize living a life experience is a gift. Even if you're in the dark night of the soul and you walk out of it and you go, whoa. It's like, is that an illusion? Was that all the part of my thought form process? Or was that puppeteers purposely trying to orchestrate something where they want to manifest something else that happened for them, and for you, you're part of that process. It's like doing a life review. Okay, that's spirit in a way saying to me, okay, you manifest, you want to make this quick and get off? Well, here you go. You have someone who needs your attention. And so, either way, just know there's so much more to it. So, be love. Know your love. Otherwise, you wouldn't have earned the beautiful gift of living a life experience. And be vulnerable. It says here, share your fears and insecurities to create trust and understanding. I unveil my true self so that many build an unbreakable bond. It's amazing how the stigma when you work in the field for many years and then you go through a crisis. Many do. They do behind closed doors and they keep working in the field and they never want to be found out because it's such a taboo. And if you don't have the support, then all of a sudden you're looked down upon. So there's a stigma, and somebody in here said, be careful. No, I'm true. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. Just be you. Tekna Han says, just be you, just be you, just be you. And I go. So there's a stigma. And please hear me loud and clear. Things have been unfolding in creation. And I would get upset with Robin Williams because he did. When he was earthbound, before he crossed over, he transmitted through me as a transmedium that I am. And I got to entertain for others. And he was even going, showing the one person I knew, the, when he did the entertainment for the troops overseas. And it was, I think it was a live broadcast, but she was watching a rerun. And he was with me. I was on the phone with another friend. And the humor and I'm like, how could you be the poster boy for depression? Why is it did you not say that you were able to transcend like a trans medium, not to label it, but you were able to have this gift and this abilities to be the entertainer you were, because you had so many guides that were there working with you from all walks of creation in such a magnificent way. So he knows sometimes I give him a hard time about that. And I mean it from the most loving way. So when it comes to stigma, when you work mental health and you see so much trauma, you actually end up always comparing yourself to keep yourself in a state where you're like, and it's a judgment. I never want to be like that. I never want to end up like that. But the true magnificence of those that are able to work in the field, that are able to be at a level of compassion and kindness because of all the things they may have gone through before getting in the field, are less likely to have the stigma of, what's the word? Forgive me, I'm trying to think of a word, if I may. It's like this judgment. It's like this hierarchy. There are those that truly understand equanimity, where everybody realizes that everybody goes through pain and suffering, no matter what some say rules, characters they may be. Some don't. They're totally blinded, like blinders on, and they're just doing the role, just a character role. They're doing their thing, and they love gossip, and and we have to appreciate those that do these things, because we say, thank you, you're showing me what I choose, that I would rather please, and not to compare. I just thank you. Moving forward, it's not a matter of right or wrong. It's not a matter of who's living truth in the manner of moving forward. It's coming to a place of love. And I know sometimes they'll bring this one person up, a physician assistant that I actually trained in the line of work. Even though she has a higher education, she was younger. It's amazing how many people, when I reflect that I trained that had a higher education than myself. And it wasn't anything about IQ. But it's amazing those of us that have a wealth of experience. I remember there was a time I was training someone, and one of the workers that I worked with was really upset and full of jealousy, to a point where the student was there and he had a say, and he said, "You're training her? I've been working here for 10 years and you're training her?" And it was very uncomfortable. I wasn't quite sure at the time how to deal with it. And so there were times where things happened behind the scenes, and you just having faith in who you are and your experience that got you there. Don't underestimate yourself. There are those in a hierarchy, a higher education. They come in. It's like that false understanding that, you know, hierarchies and in roles and positions, and how we all bring each other experiences. We all can be a miracle to one another as part of the life process. Imagine yourself the puzzle pieces. If you were to ask, where would you like to be? Well, I'd like to be on the outer frame. When I do a puzzle, that's the first thing I would do. And so everyone's different. Some people are, oh, I'd love to be the most colorful puzzle of all, and right in the middle. So it just shows how unique we all are. But in society, this programming, this hierarchy, this understanding, it's part of how things are. In creation, evolving, some say, and controlling mankind. And so some will minimize what somebody may know. And I know I've been through that. I worked at a treatment facility with at-risk youth, and I remember there was a strategy people used to use. And at the time, it was like a visual. There were certain things to do, and I remember there was a new worker. She was a new graduate of social work, and I remember being out on a call with her and telling a client, and they received quite well. And I remember in the middle of the call, she said, "Don't follow that suggestion until I check in." Like, you don't tell a kid that. And then came back and just to our supervisor, who also was responsible for a whole umbrella, not just mobile crisis. We're talking like you become a catalyst for change. But I sit there and I'm bearing psychic attacks. My back, unbearable. I can barely sit down. This girl doesn't know what it is she does, but that's okay. You forgive them anyway. And so it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, you're hired because of your addictions and community service work and education, secondary education, but at the same time, somebody doesn't have the same qualifications. But they may be told by the supervisor when they first start, which blessings to one of the girls I work with, she told me what the supervisor said. And so it's like, whoa, what? No way. And she, thankfully, was of a wise mind that sat and observed for long enough, working one-on-one with me, and could see me by me just being me. Bravo to her. While another one wanted to always control. But it would happen that the supervisor of this big, the supervisor of mental health at the time was the one that helped create the hospital. And so much on her plate. And everybody has their roles, their experiences. Didn't even know and had to talk to a community health worker that worked with youth. And then finally, no apologies, nothing. A message comes out for everyone to know what it was I already knew. There was never, and you have to forgive them anyway. There was never an apology. There wasn't even any, when I observed it and read the message, and she read it. See, people have insecurities. They have self-doubt of themselves. And I know she comes from a Mennonite background where there were middle-aged women who were very controlling. And so community-based stuff and how things can unfold. But they're there for opportunities for us to learn from. As to why I'm sharing this with online right now, I'm not sure. I guess it's meant to. I am enough. I always have been enough. So if anyone's trying to deflate you, minimize you, make you feel less than, go inwardly. What is it? In a way of love. How is it we are to be of service to one another? What is it that we can learn from this experience? How is it that we ride this wave? Does it mean one door closes, many doors open, or another door open? Does it mean we have to stop, take a step back, observe, and process? Is it the counselor that tells you, okay, back in the day, we used to get, if this is the person, the common denominator, they're the problem. Not necessarily. We all do it together. And so there are people that will label. There will people that will put people in categories, in boxes. And just know there's puppeteers doing this. And you're being tested. Where is that compassionate, loving heart? Right? At the same time, it's also, it's okay not to be attached. It's okay. Just let it go and be of love whenever and however it's meant to be. Having space, however it may be. It just is. It's like the New Horizon card that came forward earlier. It's knowing that many angels surround you, even this beautiful one. From earlier as well, picked. And so is this one. When one door closes, other doors open. And what you don't know, and a lot of people come to this conclusion. Oh, that's so funny how I did that. Those that know will know, those that don't, don't. Some believe that it's beyond God. It's a collection. It's a whole pool of us in oneness. I used to think, you know, the big Michelin man? Take all the souls of every human being and put them in the Michelin man. Forgive me, Michelin tires. Are you the knee? Are you the foot? Are you the mouth? Are you the eyes? Are you the mind? Are you the heart? Even times I'd be like, there was a healing where I felt like there was just essence of me of a tree and it was being pulled out, and I was like, whoa. And so being from a heartfelt place, I always used to say, It's like these chakras. Back in 2019, 18, there was another one, this guy James, who has AIDS, and is very vulnerable in sharing that, and blessings to him. And I remember talking about this, like within myself and having a clear knowing, and then hearing him talk about it later on a video, or there was something. He's an artist. And it was like these chakras go in. I was like, heart of many hearts. It's like these chakras. It's just not like above and so below. It's not like just like the soul star and the earth star. It's not just like Father Sky and Mother Earth. It's not like Gaia. It's like greater than all of our understanding. It's greater than the cosmos. It's greater than the planets. It's greater than this earth. It's greater than the ethers. It's greater than the matrix. Some people say love. I believe creation, who also refers to as God. God is creator, creator is God, or creation, and all that surrounds you. When we are all in search of God, just know there is so much. It's like a rose with blossoms. I used to say this a long time ago in a meditation. When you blossom, whether it's a rose, a lotus, any kind of flower, it could be a dandelion, whatever you would like to be. Like a cactus. Some need watering, some don't. So be kind to one another. Appreciate everyone and anyone. It's like this one guy I remember on a video. He's like, oh, please, any lessons, blessings, I would add experiences, may it come with ease and grace, even in a lovely way of peace. So I may be peace with all that is. And that can be quite huge. With all that's going on in the world, I hear in the universe, there's people that will psychically attack, like spiritual warfare, and this is beyond. Okay, people, like I learned this a long time ago. There used to be a time where it was like, when you transcend, it's like your guides and everything are working all together in unison to help in certain situations. Maybe that, you know, like miracle where a doctor's going, how is that possible? It's a miracle. It's like knowing that you hear like a locker banging real hard, and you're like, just breathe. And of course other things are said, and then you're like, oh, did I? And you're all tested. But there could be a miracle that you don't see that has evolved from it all. And the lessons and the blessings and everything in the experience. I remember being in an article and being upset because it was like, true me, by just be my full intention. And just remember, sometimes when articles that are being written up about you, like if it's a medical system, it can be less and more, which has happened when I got a beautiful award. And I remember a girl being jealous at work. Oh, don't go, that's really nothing. And meanwhile, knowing and hearing different things and intuitively going, and then realizing when I was there, to get the award, it was like there was something really odd going on. Intuitively, then I reflect back to that. That's okay. Let's send it off. I'm thankful for the award because it was so very deserving. And I had a beautiful, beautiful social worker that I got to train. Even how to drive through a drive-through she'd never done before. Beautiful memories.